All right, man. Here we go. Episode 3, Knicks N Bruises. I got my special guest tonight, Die Hard Knicks podcast, Eru. How's it going today, man?
It's going good, bro. I finally got to do the show with you, man. I'm excited about it.
I am too, man. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. It's been a discussion for a little while now, and
Yeah.
I'm glad we got you going. So Knicks and Bruises. The point of the podcast, as always, is to highlight some of our low moments as Knicks fans. We've been through a lot over the years. A lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of nicks, some small things, and a lot of bruises, some real big issues. And I want to get everybody's thoughts on their worst memories as a Knicks fan. So the floor is yours. You can start however you like. Knicks, bruises.
So I'm hitting you with my worst first.
Okay.
Oh my god, man. The worst moment. There's been so many real bad moments, man, in the Knicks fans. But I gotta say that free throw, not free throw, that finger roll, Patrick Ewing against Indiana. I think that was the absolute worst. To me, that was the absolute worst. It's been, like I said, there's been so many different other things, but that finger roll when because I never forget it. Because I've always been like the number one Knicks fan out of everybody in my just in my life, my friends and stuff. So we had like a block that played basketball. We just played ball. The neighborhood was too dangerous to really be in the parks. So we the older guys, they got together and they act well. The beginning of that, one of my friend's father is a welder. So he actually welded a freaking basketball hoop for us, and we had it attached to like a pole and shit. So after a while, some of the guys say, "Yo, man, y'all can't play on that." So then they put money together and bought us the hoop or whatever. So anyway, I'm just painting a picture of how the it was when I was a kid. So when the Knicks played, especially when it came down to the playoff time, Indiana, my front yard turned into like MSG. You know what I'm saying? We brought the TV from the living room. My mom didn't really appreciate that, but I brought it out, put it right on the stoop. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was just standing in front of the TV and stuff. But the whole block was there. Even some cats from down the block or whatever, they would come through. Because they know I'm watching the game, so they rather watch it with us. Because our block was cool back in the days. Like I said, neighborhood was dangerous, man. But for some reason, our block was like the Sandlot. You know what I'm saying? So everybody came through. So I never forget that I had my girl with me, and it was crazy, man. When we thought that it was over as soon as he drove down the thing and he extended. We was like, it's over. And then when he extended it and like it's like he exploded. I mean, he takes his long strides, right? But once he made that long stride, I felt like he lost a little bit momentum. He was like falling backwards, and then I could see him. No, in my mind, I was like, is he about to finger roll? And then he just came off like this. Like, yo, Patrick Ewing didn't make a finger roll his whole entire career. In that moment, he decided to fall back and just lay it in, and it hit the back of the rim, bro. When I tell you like pissed and just how deflated the whole block was, it was that was crazy, man. I think that might have been the absolute lowest point, for me as being a Knicks fan.
That was by far. I think that's going to be one of the ones that are on everyone's list.
Yeah.
It may not be number one for everybody, but if everybody did a top 5 or a top 3, I think that one is definitely going to be on there. It was like, just dunk the ball.
Yeah, just dunk the ball or just make a shot that he normally shoots. Usually he comes over the top. If he went over the top, that I would have been okay with that because he probably would have bank shot it or probably would have had a better chance of going in. But he stepped back, slowed down slightly, and then extended a hand out with a finger roll. That was incredible, man. I'll never forget that. That's even above Charles Smith because after the fact, like you could just give it up to Charles Smith that the reason why he didn't make the layup because he was soft. So I mean, like it happened to be the softest guy on the team going up or whatever, and he's like, you can't really do nothing. You can't really say nothing about that. But just at Ewing, man, that shot was all his. He broke the lane. It was just him. Even if you look at the the tape or whatever, you can see the Indiana players like, damn, we freaking lost again. And then when oh man, that was like totally deflating, man. Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a big bruise right there, man.
Yeah.
That's a big bruise. What else you got for me?
Well, I mentioned the Charles Smith, man. I give you a Charles Smith story. So, of course, that play was one of the worst, but like to me, that it doesn't really stick out, even the John Starks, shooting in the fourth quarter of the finals, like John Starks was hot and cold, so I never really got so mad at him for that. But back to Charles Smith. Charles Smith, I actually was on what was it, 30? We was on 33rd and 8th on the corner, right across the street from the post office, right? So I'm standing there, I'm going about my business, got my headphones, whatever, chilling, just standing there. So anyway, as I'm standing there, I had the same hat that you got on actually.
Oh wow.
Just always, you're a Knicks fan, so you always got some kind of Knicks gear or whatever. I had a book bag on or whatever. So I saw, some guy was tall. Next time I looked at him, I said, damn, this motherfucker's tall as shit. So I started paying on mine. So I looked at him again, right? And then now I know he's looking at me. So now looking at him, I'm like, motherfucker, is that Charles Smith? I was staring at him. So I guess he must have felt it because I'm staring at him like this, like, with the skunk face. So he's looking at me, right? So I didn't realize that he's looking back at me. He's tall, man. So I didn't realize he was looking back at me, and he was like, yo, man. He said, yo, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. He just kept saying it like that. So when he did that, I started laughing, and he started laughing too. So he gave me a pound and shit. He said, "Yo, you a Knicks fan, right?" He said, "Yo, hell yeah, I'm a Knicks fan." I said, "Yo, man." I was trying to say, "Yo, what happened?" Whatever. He said, "Yo, man." Yo, he just like, "Yo, I should have dunked that shit, man. I should have dunked it." You know what I'm saying? So we had like a little moment. The light changed and everything. So we kind of had like a back and forth. He's mad cool, mad cool.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. After that, he gave me like a little pound of shit, and he just kept it moving. I kept it moving. I don't even know where he went. I assume he was going across, like going downtown on 8th Avenue, but I was going across town. I think I was going to meet somebody or something. Yeah, but I never forget that too, man. He was real chill, man. I can't believe that shit. But he had a sense of humor, which is funny, because everybody hates him. He just walking the streets like it's nothing. But that's New York
Yeah.
for you, though. That's New York for you.
I've never, I can't say never, but I very rarely have revisited that play. But I always defended him in the sense that I'm like, yo, he got fouled on one of those. That's like 4 or 5 putbacks in one possession, and they was just none of them was blocked. So the fact that none of them were blocked, you can't tell me he wasn't hit.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Well, now speak on that, man. Because if it was this era, they would have called the foul immediately. He would have just got to call the foul. They might have ejected somebody from like hitting him in the top of the head. It would have been a flagrant two. It would have been crazy. We probably would have ended up winning that game by like 4 by the time they finished with the technical. Not even 4, by like 5 or 6 after the technical fouls and all kind of stuff that goes along with that. But at the time, we knew when it came to the end of the fourth quarter, those referees went oop, swallow that whistle. So
Especially that era.
yeah. So like if it happened to be Charles Oakley that was in that spot, Charles Oakley would have just threw his body back, not even trying to make the layup. He would have just threw his body back and just kept hitting the ball against the backboard. But Charles Smith, he just kept putting his hand up. So that's why the referees didn't bail him out. He just kept putting his hand up. Not really. He didn't even jump. He just kept putting his hand up. So if it, like I said, if it was Oakley would have threw his whole body back, and he would have forced somebody to blow that whistle. Yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny, thinking about the old times like that, man. We went through a lot of wars, man.
Definitely. Let me give you a quick story, real quick, since you gave your Charles Smith story. This was the year, I believe we traded Mason, or was he a free agent and went to Miami? We traded him, right?
I think no, yeah, we traded him for Larry Johnson to Charlotte. He went to Charlotte.
So I'm going to Disney World. I was taking my daughter's mom to Disney World. We had to take a flight to Miami and then from Miami to Orlando. Mm-hmm. And I'm on a plane and I'm walking down the aisle and it's Anthony Mason sitting in the seat. And I just stop and my eyes get wide. And I'm like, babe, look, it's Anthony Mason. And she's just there with her attitude. I don't give a. And then as soon as she says that, he just looked at me with the mean ice cream, and I'm like, all right, keep it moving. She's about to get me beat up by Anthony Mason. Oh man, that was
He was a
Crazy.
scary dude, man. Anthony Mason. I've seen him a couple times in person. He's a scary dude. Like one time I saw him as a kid, he actually was in the park just chilling. You know, I can't tell you which park it was. It definitely was in Manhattan. I want to say West Fourth because that's so easy, but I don't think it was West Fourth. But he was just sitting down. I guess he just finished playing. He was waiting for next or whatever the fuck. So I was in the park. I'm looking over and it's fucking Anthony. He was when I talk about a massive human being, that dude was huge, and I guess he was still playing for the Knicks at the time. But he was just a big, massive dude. You know, like when you look at him, you think he's fat, but he's not fat. That's just his chest sticking out. Over the freaking the whatever jersey that he had on or whatever. But he was mad cool. Every time I met him, I also met him in a club a couple times too. Well, every time you meet him, he's real chill. He's just like just like a regular New Yorker. Like whatever you come through, he's like, oh shit, Anthony Mason, yeah, what's good, man? Like blah, like that. What you doing? What you getting into? All right, cool, man. Be over here. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah. He's talking. He always talked to you like that. So I always appreciate Anthony Mason.
Very humble. Very humble.
Real chill.
And rest in peace.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt, man.
What else on your list?
What else we got here? I guess I could throw some little kid stories, man. Like I go back to Bernard King, but when Bernard King was rocking, I was like a little baby. You know what I'm saying? So, but just instill in my mind, there's certain things when you're like a kid, like sense of smell, sense of taste. You kind of just remember certain things, and also just like your senses, like your ears, like So I always remember my dad, playing with the radio because we didn't have cable or nothing like that. Nobody really had cable like that. But you always would listen to the Knicks on MSG, right? So he had like we had like one of those TVs that was a TV/radio. So you lift the big old thing and there's a radio inside there. So my dad used to mess with us. I never forget it because the dial was like, where are you? Where are you? So I know when that came on, I know my dad's he's trying to get the station right. Turning the dial, trying to get it right. So he finally would get it. And then you would hear the Knicks game, Knicks on, whatever, however they used to say it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then used to hear Mike Breen. Was it Mike Breen at the time, or was it I think that might have been Mike Breen. I think was our era, but
was it Marv? Did Marv?
Yeah,
Marv
yeah, it probably was Marv because I remember the yes, so it was definitely Marv. So he's like Bernard King inside, left baseline, jump shot, yes, what I'm saying, like that type of thing. So that type of stuff I just never forget, So with Bernard King, so he was like a superhero to me because I felt like whenever my pops listened to the game, it was always Bernard King, yes, all day long, step through dribble, yes, like that. So I would never forget it. So I remember seeing my dad too. He was because he was a young guy, I had to be, let's say I had to be like 4 or whatever. So my dad was like 25, 26. So he's a young guy still too. So I remember him, being animated, yeah, like that, whatever. He come on, give me a pound, that type of thing. So that's what attracted me to the game or whatever. And we would go to like not necessarily barbershops, but like anywhere, like hanging out with his boys, whatever. If the Knicks game was on, somebody would have it on their car, playing it in their car, or if we were somewhere, somebody would have it on if the Knicks were playing. Even if they were playing music, the Knicks would still be on for the guys to talk. So that whole culture, man, I just loved it, man. Just loved to, because it was like a superhero type of thing. But the bad story with that is that Bernard King got hurt. So when he got hurt, I was like, oh my God, how could he get hurt? Because to me, Bernard King was like Superman, So him getting hurt, I didn't really understand it. So I was like, boo-boo, scratch, what, that type of thing. Oh, he'll be okay. And my pops was telling me whatever. Then, as I started getting into it, now I'm getting 5, 6. Now I know what Bernard King looks like, that type of thing. The Knicks didn't retain him. They just let him go to another team. And then, I forgot what the situation was, right? But I guess they traded him. They traded him or whatever. I don't know the situation. But he ended up being on the Wizard. The Bullets, excuse me. So I remember crying, bro. I never forget that. I remember crying when they got rid of Bernard King because I didn't understand how could they just let him play for another team, because Bernard King was was Superman. Nobody could stop him. Yeah, so I remember crying, man. So that's what really got me into understanding why these things are happening. Like why would they do that? Why would they trade this guy, whatever? I could continue that story too, man. Like right after that, we drafted Ewing, started getting used to it. My dad was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna be like Bernard King." So I'm like, "Okay." So I'm trying to figure it out, trying to understand. But fast forward a little bit to that. We got Mark Jackson, whatever. But Rod Strickland Rod Strickland is another dude. Rod Strickland was a dude that's another guy that I actually sold my own two eyes because he came right behind these guys whatever. So now I'm older. I'm like maybe like 7, 8 or so. And I actually saw him play. Saw him play in the in school or whatever. So I remember him and I physically saw him with my own two eyes. And he's from the Bronx, that type of stuff. So now I know I live in Brooklyn. I know where the Bronx is, right? That's New York City. So that's the love that I have for the city. So when we got, because we had got Mark Jackson. I know he's from Queens, but I didn't make that connection at the time. But when we got Rod Strickland, like I said, I made that connection. Yo, he's from the Bronx. Yo, that's from New York City. So I had that connection with him. So we ended up trading him for Maurice Cheeks, and I cried again. That was the last time I cried, about any Knicks stuff, man. And the thing with that is that after that opened the floodgates as far as like, yo, let me get the newspaper, let me read what they're saying about. I can read now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting a newspaper by myself, looking at it, cutting out articles, reading stuff, checking out the box score, trying to figure out, because now I'm good with math and shit. So Rod Strickland, after that happened, I was like, yo, I need to know what's going on because I can't take being shocked again. Like, yo, I don't know why they did that. And then, like, I never forget. It literally made me cry, man. So after that opened the floodgates as far as that is concerned. Being a fan and stuff.
One of my favorite hip hop lines is from Nature. That was down with the firm. I went to games as a Knicks fan. They had Strickland. They traded him. Ever since then, son, I hated them.
Yeah.
And yo, that line hit me so hard. I mean, I never hated the Knicks, but yes, that's another one. I couldn't understand them trading Rod Strickland, and he's another guy that I met in person, and he's probably the most humble, star athlete that I've ever met in my life. To the point where, I mean, we had conversations on the park bench that I never would have fathomed having with an NBA player.
Oh, with Rod Strickland?
Yes, right in the Bronx, in the Bronx, in Parkchester. And yeah, shout out to the Bronx for real. Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn, so I don't give a shit about none of that shit.
718 connect.
Yeah.
718.
Yeah, unite. I got it.
But yeah, Strickland, man. He's a great person, man. That's what I say. And he'll talk to anybody, interact with them. I mean, to the point where I was a kid, but he was having beers with the locals. You know what I mean? Which I was like, what? Like, you have a beer with Rod Strickland? I'm right here sitting down. Like,
and he never breaks character too, right? He's just real chill. Just like, you always just like, yeah, so yeah, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? He's just real chill and shit. Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yo,
man, diehard. You are diehard for real.
Yeah, man.
I got tears stories.
Tears, man. But like I said, I never cried again after that, man. After that, I was a beast. I used to out-talk my dad after that point. He used to be like, all right, Junior. All right, well, I'm going in the room, okay? I'm out talking him now, one more thing with Rod Strickland. He actually was dating some chick from the neighborhood too, man. So I remember seeing him coming, incognito and says, yo, they go Rod Strickland, you know what I'm saying? Yo, man, chill, don't, like, all right, whatever, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. New York City, we don't like, oh, okay, cool, man. What's up? If he's over there, like, whatever, we got other stuff that we're doing that we worried about that we're not really worried about what he's doing, man. But yeah, he's cool, man. Definitely.
For sure. You got any other big ones?
Big ones, man. I'm thinking about I'm trying to stay like in chronological order here a little bit. Cause I mean, like, that PJ Brown fight was pretty bad. Because I felt like that year Miami couldn't do nothing with us. We was gonna sweep them, or I don't know what the record was for the series at the time of the fight. I think were we up 2-0 or something like that. I think we were up in the series.
We definitely were up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the record was, but the ramifications.
Yeah, man, they couldn't do nothing with us. They couldn't do nothing with us. If we was full strength, we would have destroyed them that year. They would have had no chance. That was the year. John, that was the John Wallace year where they had the cool, white with the orange block letter jerseys and stuff that kind of looked similar to the city jerseys. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we had those rockets. So we was doing our thing, man, that year. So I mean, once it happened and everything went down, like the aftermath, it was just like what? They're suspending this guy, that guy. The one that killed me the most was Ewing. Ewing wasn't nowhere near it, because I remember we was when it went down, we was all kind of mad that Ewing was over there, talking. He wasn't really talking jumping. He kind of was just pacing on the outside of it. We was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, Ewing need to get up in there. But all of a sudden, the NBA has a rule that if you leave the bench, that you get automatically suspended. And
And
they took it to the point where they looked at every piece of that film, and it was like, oh, he crossed the line, he got to go. It's like, what? Like, when did that happen? I feel like,
that was
right,
a foot over. He literally put his foot over the line. Like he
right.
didn't leave the and I think we had so many suspensions that they had to divide it amongst 3 games, right?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. Like I think one game, we Scotty Brooks didn't start. I don't think, but he was like our only other guard coming off the bench, man. So I mean, we had no shot. But even then, even though we lost all those players for those games and stuff, we still was taking them to the end of the fourth quarter. That Miami team was trash. And my thing with Alonzo Mourning is that he was like talking so much junk, pumping his fists and squeezing his muscles and all kind of stuff. I was like, man, fuck this guy, man. So I don't know if you could curse or not, man. I like to
Hey
to
man,
curse.
every individual show is about the guests. So
Okay, all
yeah,
right, I got a potty mouth.
it's about you today.
Yeah, that's one thing too about Alonzo Mourning. I respect the fact that he got a championship, after the fact for that year with Miami. He deserved it. But up until that point, man, I was like, man, this guy, he to me, he was such like a I don't, I'm gonna say the word phony, but off the court, he always did well, good for the community and stuff. I give him all his props for that. But we're talking about between the lines, of a basketball court, whatever. When it came down to playing and stuff, I just thought that he was like the biggest phony, fake tough guy kind of thing. He's one of those guys that come through and they be like, yeah, I'm Alonzo Mourning. Say, yeah, all right, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's good? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody might slap him off a GP, that type of thing, and start dragging him up and down the wherever he is, a barbershop or whatever. Yeah, man. So that's where we came from the '90s, man. So it was hostility whenever we talked about that crew, and that for a real bad taste in my mouth with that Miami series, man. I felt like we would have smoked them. We would have got to the I think we would have got to the finals that year, no problem. We would have beat, because I mean I think the Bulls swept them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls swept them, and that year we was giving the Bulls problems, man. So I think we would have finally beat the Bulls fair and square that year, and we would have, whoever we played in the finals, we would have just beat them. Like that, I can't remember neither. I can't remember who.
Seattle.
Did they play Seattle?
I think so.
That was the second. I think that was their second championship. If I believe. Oh no, it might have been like the I don't remember, man. I don't know if Utah. I think it might have been Seattle, bro. Seattle might have been the first championship of that second run.
Yes.
I think. I don't know. But that's not important though. Getting those numbers right. It's not important. It's all the feeling that you had about those situations, man. So yeah, that was bad too, man. PJ Brown to this day, if I see him, man, I think I might just clothesline him or like punch him in his balls or something like that. If I ever see him in person, man.
That's cool, man. That's one I haven't heard from anyone either. That one wasn't on anyone's list. But like I said, going back and thinking about it, they suspended so many players that they had to divide the suspensions amongst 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, and in my brain, I kept saying like, oh, like I wish we could determine, or the Knicks could determine who gets suspended when, because they broke it up in a way that we needed 2 guys paired together that just weren't able to be play the same game.
Yeah, that's a good point about that too, because they definitely did that. They said, okay, well, we'll let you keep Ewing for this game, but then we're gonna take this guy for that game. Like it was a setup. It was like it was a setup for us. They didn't want us. They just didn't want the Knicks to be in the finals. They didn't want us to be that figurehead, as we won a championship, face of the league. They still wanted Jordan and stuff like that. So I think that setup was in, man. That they wanted out of of course the Knicks. I don't know if the Knicks really did it to themselves, because I mean it was Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward was the one he had to fight with. So Charlie Ward, he don't fight. You know what I'm saying? So when that happened, it was kind of unfortunate. But once the Knicks gave them that opportunity, they just like dragged us through the coals with that, man. So I thought that wasn't really fair, man, how they did us. But it is what it is, man. I mean, that's history, man.
Yeah, man. We got a long road of a tough history. Yeah, man. You got any more? You wanna get into some positivity?
All right. Well, before we get to the positivity, I'll give you one more that was bad. The Anuka Brown situation.
Isaiah
That was
Thomas.
bad, bro. Yeah, that was really bad. It was like when you're a Knicks fan, you can always argue certain points and stuff. You can always argue like why he traded this person or whatever. Because at that point, I forgot how old I was at that time, but at that point, we know the salary cap, we know the ins and outs of the NBA during that time, so we can always argue why we gave up all these first round picks for this guy, or why we signed this dude. We can kind of talk about that. But once that came out, and it was big, man. And people, I feel like maybe Dolan might have paid some money to keep people from ever mentioning it again. Because that was really bad, man. I thought like if anybody was gonna lose, like being forced to sell a team and stuff like that, Dolan was real close during that time period to losing it all, man. He had to stick his ground. I think Isaiah took most of that. Isaiah took most of it. Was Steve Mills? Steve Mills got fired. He had the one to get fired, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I know.
He was definitely around.
Yeah, I think he was around. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, the Knicks were trying so hard to bring diversity to the franchise and stuff. They always did. So when that happened, it was just like, oh my God, what are we gonna do here? It was like that was really bad. But we got through that too, man. Knicks been through a lot, man. That's why I don't get this era how people so mad, about certain things, man. We've been through a lot, man. We've been through a lot through as Knicks fans.
That was. I think that solidified the end of Isaiah. I was really particularly mad about that situation because I felt like he could have just omitted his wrongdoing, and it wouldn't have been as big of an issue.
Yeah.
He was very stubborn in the fact that he didn't do anything wrong, and I don't want to sound chauvinistic, but it wasn't anything physical. You know what I mean? It was disrespectful words that he did, that he was alleged to have said, or unwarranted advances, which by all means I'm not saying is because there's a lot wrong with that. Yeah. But admit you're wrong. Grow as a man, and let it handle itself. I think his stubbornness is what really messed it up.
Yeah. You saw me laughing, right, when you said stubbornness, because when I was thinking about it, Isaiah was almost to the fact, well, tell the bitch to sue me. I ain't do like the way he was kind of carrying on, about it. It's like then he kind of was implying, but like, look at her. Why would I? Why would I do that with somebody who looks like that? You know what I'm saying? It was ugly, man. That was really, really bad. So I mean, it was nothing that we could have did. That it just had to play out. It just had to play, run its course, whatever. So I wonder what the settlement was, because I think she wanted her job back or whatever.
It was big. I wish I would have pulled that one up on the on my little video, because it was a substantial amount of money.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes too. I think they gave us stuff behind the scenes that we probably would never know until somebody writes a book or something like that. So I mean, it is what it is. I kind of don't want that to come out, and I hope I didn't put no seeds in nobody's mind, man. They watching this podcast and be like, "Yo, Anuka Brown, damn, son, let's go look up some stuff of it." Oh, yo,
and thank God for him. I'll say that it was then and not 10 years later
Oh my God.
with the Me Too era, because it was that big without the Me Too movement behind it. I could only imagine.
Yo, it would be no more Knicks. It would be the Brooklyn Knicks, and the Brooklyn Nets were alone by themselves in New York City, man. They would have to sell the team. We probably be playing in Seattle right now.
Yeah,
If that was nowadays, we probably be the new Seattle SuperSonics. It's crazy.
because even in and I think Dolan's relationship with Isaiah kind of hindered it as well, because I think any other person, the Knicks would have they would have handled it different. The Knicks kind of stood by their guy. You know what I mean? And
That was his man. Isaiah Thomas was Dolan's bro, man.
for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
he was holding him down. That was his road dog. Him and Steve Mills and shit. That's crazy.
For sure. Yep. And I'm not trying to rush you, man. So if you got more, by all means, I don't know what your time schedule is. I'm good.
I'm good to go, man. I'm a man of a certain age, man. I already I didn't say my age, but you guys kind of could figure it out. So I ain't got nothing going on.
And I see you go in chronological order. So if you want to keep going until we reach our current status, by all means.
Let me see. Well, just the mellow, the mellow era. I can get through the whole Honey Nut Cheerios thing. But that was embarrassing. But it was like whatever, man. But for me, it was the season after the 54 wins. I know I had an argument with I think it was on Sim Show where I mentioned it and everybody kind of like jumped on my throat about it. But like truthfully, it's like just to make it like a connection with now. Tom Thibodeau basically took almost the same crew from last year and making them play like a real basketball team. It's the difference between two coaches. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like Woodson was still a coach. He coached that 54-win team. But the next year, we brought back some of the key guys. We're talking about J.R. Smith, Mello, Ray Felton. Some of those guys, we brought them back. Some of the core guys. Excuse me, Shumpert, and some of the other guys that we had until we brought them back. The only people that we didn't bring back was a lot of those veteran guys. So the veteran guys.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Most of them retired.
Yeah,
like the Rashid retired, Kurt Thomas retired, Jason Kidd retired,
Camby too. Did you say Camby?
No,
yeah,
Camby. I didn't.
Yeah, Camby was there. Kmart was on his last legs too. We lost a lot of guys due to just old age and stuff. So it just tells you right there that it wasn't necessarily what Woodson was doing as a coach. It was what these veterans were doing behind the scenes. So I mean, Rasheed Wallace, like you mentioned, Kurt Thomas, Jason Kidd, all these guys are freaking gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of gangsters. Not only just gangsters, just in their persona, just the way who they are, like as men. Just a simple fact that all these guys are they just know the game. They've been through it all. They have a lot of a certain story. Mello, obviously he's going to respect Marcus Camby. Jason Kidd is there. Everybody's going to listen to Jason Kidd. Like I said, Kurt Thomas has been there. So Kurt Thomas, he always is known for running his mouth, so letting people know, that he was like the leading scorer and leading rebounder in college when he was in college. So, I mean, he's going to let everybody know. So, listen, I was here. I'm the only one that's I could just imagine how he talks and stuff, so that locker room was like this, you know what I'm saying, when they were there. So I mean, you can say that once he lost those veterans, that they lost the locker room. But at the same time, that talent, that talented core, the ones that were doing all the scoring and stuff, and the actual getting the heavy minutes, they still were here. So I mean, we got Bino Urich. He came from San Antonio, so maybe personality wise, he wasn't strong enough to whatever. Or we got the other guy, Bargnani. Bargnani the next season. But say what you want about Bargnani, the guy still was out enough to average 14 points a game. He was agile, whatever. He could still, he was good enough to be like a second fiddle to Mello, or a third fiddle, whatever it is. We still had talent on the team. So from going from 54 to I think we won maybe like 30 something, or whatever it was, 38.
I believe so.
Yeah, 38, and missing the playoffs, and people will bring up the fact that Woodson almost got us to the playoffs. that's all fine and dandy, man. But it should never been no fight like that. We should have been. We should have just made the playoffs. We had the guys. Just to go back even further, say like the right after the we went to the finals that last time in '99. The next year, that's when we started declining. After that year, we started declining and stuff. But we still made the playoffs. Those years when we was fooling around with the whole Allen Houston and Sprewell type of thing, and then we traded Ewing and stuff. We still was in the mix of all whatever, regardless, because we still had talent and stuff, man. So to me, there's really no excuse, man. It's not like it was like the Isaiah era. What we just mentioned, Anuka Brown, and then all the other nonsense that was happening at the time. So I felt like for them to drop off that much, that pissed me off, man. Like this, like if you go on some of these message boards and scroll back and look at my old handles or whatever, you'll see that I was on fire during that time, man. That was like really one of the bad times.
Let me ask, who did you blame at that particular moment? Because like for me, number one, even Woodson credits that season as his best season coaching.
He 54. It was though.
Those guys, the following year.
The 38 win season?
We went on an 18, I believe it was an 18-6 run to end that season. Missed the playoff spot a game or a half a game.
Yeah.
We were injury riddled that season as well. Like we didn't get our horses back until that final stretch in which, like I said, we went 18-6. So to me, like that is on my list, but it's a different. Like I was upset with Phil Jackson for firing Woody because I thought it was undeserved. I think he did a lot with what he had, considering the injuries, considering the way we ended that year. I thought Woodson deserved another chance.
I agree with that.
Phil Jackson era. So it's on my list, but it's under Phil Jackson because I thought that was the first mishandle of Phil Jackson, and he has a list of them.
I agree with that, but it's all about the feeling, and I know the feeling that I was having at the time, man. So that was to me, that was bad. That was like the last real bad time for me.
I had the feeling early, but once we went on that run, like I remember that feeling, that run, like, oh, we gonna make, you know what I mean? And we literally missed the playoffs on the last day of the season. Like whether it was another team, I think another team won. If they lost, we were in. If they win, they was in.
From my perspective, once they started winning, they went on that streak. That whole time we was on that streak, I was pissed. Like, yo, we could have been doing this the whole time. What the fuck? I was on that. Like, what were they doing this whole time? And then, like, once they got to the end, and they didn't make the playoffs, I just like lost it. Because I mean, like all these other in the beginning of the year when we was fooling around and stuff, I felt like even though we did have the injuries and stuff like that, I felt like we were still like we were still good enough to make it. You know what I'm saying? To tread water enough for us to get there at the end. You know what I'm saying? So then once we went on that run, once everybody got healthy and shit, we went on the run, and we just narrowly met. I was like so freaking angry, man. I was so angry. I blame I'm gonna say I blame Woody because I didn't really care to bring him back. But I blame everybody, man. I blame Shumpert and those guys. He was hurt too. I believe that season he was hurt. A couple guys were hurt, man. But I feel like we had enough
time.
Yeah. We regardless, man. All those excuses, man. I feel like them guys should have showed up a little bit better than that. Because they proved it. They proved that they were that good at the end. So yeah, that was bad for me. I think that's my last one.
All right. So we'll fast forward. Woodson's back. I don't know how you feel about that, but that was actually good news for me. I like I said, I was a fan of Woodson. I enjoyed his turnaround of J.R. Smith. I credit him with that. I think we've seen Mello play the most defense as a Knick under Woodson. So I kind of credited Woodson with that as well. But we got Woodson back. We got Tom. We got a nice mixture in this coaching staff. Um, I know you're a pretty optimistic fan for the most part. So, what are your thoughts of the current team, the current roster, the current front office, the future? I think it's a bright future. What say you?
Well, you said it right there, man. I'm optimistic now because of times like that, the situation we just talked about with the 54 win season and the season after that. Then like rewind to like the 13 years of the Ewing era, the Isaiah Thomas era, even worse the freaking Scott Layden era. To me, I think Scott Layden was the one that set the table for all the nonsense that we had to deal with the last 20 years. Because he capped us out. And then when you say, "Oh wow, he spent the cap," oh, we must have some stars. Or you look at our roster, straight trash. But
Shannon
straight
Anderson.
Shannon Anderson, his freaking retarded cousin Howard Isley.
Howard
We had Othello Harrington, freaking Clarence Weatherspoon looked like a woman. It looked like a woman out there playing for the Knicks, man. It was crazy, man. I couldn't believe it. Like the thing is, okay, we got those players, but it wasn't just that we got them. We maxed them out. We maxed out the roster. We gave Houston. Houston was already looking like he was getting hurt, and we already had Sprewell. Sprewell was still in his stride, and instead of just keeping Sprewell and kind of like choosing him to be as your shooting guard, and then like moving on from Allen Houston, or maybe giving him like a fair salary, because I feel like maxing him out, giving him one of the most historic contracts in league history. I think that was wrong, man, because there was nobody checking for Allen Houston. Of course, he would have signed, but not for that 100. What was it, 120 mil? 120 mil over like what, 6 years or whatever the hell it was. That was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, like if we signed him to like maybe like a 3-year contract for not the max though, it couldn't have been the max. It had to have been something a little bit less because Houston was obviously declining. During this time period also that's when he got his 50-point games, or whatever. But he couldn't really play the game. He was just an ISO player at that point. Give him the ball and just let him do what he's gonna do, because we weren't trying to win nothing. It was crazy. I felt like that was like the worst. And then I can't remember if he was the one that traded Ewing. Was he the one that traded Ewing?
Layton.
Yeah, Scott Layden. That I can't remember, man. But I know all these things started happening so fast, and then once we got, I think it might have been after, right? Because
it was close. Because
yeah,
who was after Layton? I'm pretty sure it was Layton.
Yeah, it might have been Layden, man. Because I mean, Layden was doing so much stuff, man. He traded Camby for McDyess. McDyess just shattered his knee, and then he never made it. He played one game in the preseason, came down off a putback dunk and shatters his knee again. And then you look back, we gave a 1st-round draft pick and Marcus Camby for this cat. Like, are you crazy? Like for giving up Marcus Camby, which he still went on to play really well for Denver. And then for that number 1 pick, it was Nene, but it could have been Amari, whatever. If we would have kept the pick, maybe it would have turned in. It was Amari, I think, right? That year. I can't.
The pick was Nene.
The pick was Nene, but I think Amari might have been in that draft, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you saying rather than picking Amari.
Maybe if they planned on keeping the pick, they would have did some research or whatever and been able to get get the guy that they really wanted or whatever, man. So I mean, that's crazy, man. We would have been better off just doing that rather than just trading for a dude that just shattered his knee. He just shattered his knee. Oh man, it's crazy. They didn't do their due diligence there. That was all Scott Layden, man. That's the nepotism. The Layden father is the one that got him the job when he was in Utah. And then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, man, Utah's been winning for all these years. Let's get one of their guys from their franchise and bring them to us. They're gonna make us like Utah." But meanwhile, we just came off for 13 years of ourselves, doing well, by ourselves. Why couldn't we continue that building from within type of thing? That's so the Knicks, being a Knicks fan is full of little moments like that just destroyed everything.
You say that, and that is a perfect transition to this new era, because it seems like that's what we're finally doing.
Yeah,
we're finally building from within. We got a nice group of young talent. Most of them we drafted ourselves. And a couple of them coming up on extension time. it's going to be interesting to see if we bring somebody back since Charlie Ward was the last rookie we re-signed off the rookie contract, not including Tim Hardaway, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm optimistic as well. I hope we stay this course, and we got some young guys that have bright futures. Well, what are your thoughts on some of our young guys? Uh, let's not start with Quickly. I know he's the hot guy right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Knox and Frank and the longer tenured Knicks. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on some of those guys?
Well, the thinking about that, like we've been through so much, right? So we leading us to now. So we have a lot of anxiety. So initially, like even Julius Randle, you can put him into this mix. A lot of people were talking about trading Mitch. I was one of them because I feel like I don't see him going whatever. So I'm on my mind. It's like, we're just traumatized. So I'm thinking about this guy. He's not gonna be like he can't score. Is it? He just an alley-oop person. So I'm like, yo, we need to trade him high, get a first round pick. Excuse me, first round pick. The same way that we did with Marcus Morris or whatever. Kevin Knox. I've never been high on him. I was high on him when we drafted him. I thought he was going to be good, but then once he showed up in the game, you just see that he's never going to be the guy that we thought he was going to be. So these type of things but it's the anxiety from the past that's on our shoulders as Knicks fans that just makes us go crazy. So anyway, fast forward now to the current situation, everything is playing out right now. Now it's time to just chill out. Kevin Knox might not be the guy that we wanted him to be, but he is definitely somebody. He's definitely a piece that we can use coming off the bench. He's definitely becoming a sniper. He's never. I ain't gonna say never, but he's not showing the ability to be able to put the ball on the floor to really create for himself. So he's just like a role guy. RJ, we kind of got to wait for RJ to get his consistency together, but he's there. He's right there. What's the other guy? Frank Ntilikina. Frank Ntilikina, I talked about him so much. It's crazy. I'm not going to disrespect the kid, but he's in the same boat as Kevin Knox. Is that he's not going to ever be who people think he's supposed to be. But at the same time, right now, in this stage of his career, he is what he is. You know what I'm saying? He's a defensive guy, situational player. Fringe person that you can pull off the bench if somebody gets hurt. All right, we got Frank. Let's put Frank out there because but he has to stay ready. That's just gonna be his role. He's because he hasn't proven that because this is his 4th year. He hasn't proven that he can really create consistently off the dribble. He hasn't shown that he can shoot that jump shot. Even though he kind of did it pretty well this year, but he hasn't really shown the growth after 4 years that you need to prove that you're gonna be the person that everyone thinks you're gonna be. So mentioning Quickly, now that Quickly is here. You don't even hear nothing about Frank. The Frank hive is, they're on to bigger and better things now. Now it's the Quickly hive. We need to start quickly. Yeah, so this is all PTSD, man. Just like all the past shit that we've been through. So but right now, just like I've been on it, positive. Like you follow me, man. I've been trying to keep it positive because, like I said, we've been through it all, man. So we kind of coming full circle. Like you got your show, I got my show, but we all working together. It's like almost a family, you know what I'm saying? With a bunch of guys that are doing stuff. So we're like the Knicks franchise and the fans are kind of all coming together now. So there's something brewing. Like one thing I want to say too is that like trades and stuff like that. I think that's just like the old mentality right now. We are smoldering something in like a pot, like a cauldron. Everything is brewing in the pot right now, and we just gotta wait for that thing to cook. You know what I'm saying? And while we waiting for that to cook, surprise, somebody made cornbread. You know what I'm saying? Oh snap, we got the cornbread too. So we waiting for our cornbread. You know what I'm saying? We got the soup popping. You know what I'm saying? But we need that cornbread to sop it up. It's coming. I think it's coming, bro.
And we put in a little more ingredients each year.
Yeah.
A little more flavor.
Yeah, grandma looking the spoon and putting it back in the pot. You know what I'm saying? Extra flavor.
Yeah, man. One thing about Frank, I'm not that low on Frank. I think the biggest issue with him right now is staying healthy. Like I said on Sim's channel, Frank has been going through this repeated circle of sitting on a bench. Everybody want him to play. He finally comes in. You know, he works his way up, has 2 or 3 good games in a row, and then he's hurt. Then he sits out for a month or a couple weeks. Comes back. Everybody say Frank gotta play. Frank gotta play. He works his way back up again. You know, and each time it takes a couple games to work his way up. Then he'll have another 3 game stretch where it's like, all right, he's arrived and he's hurt again. That groin injury seems to be reoccurring. And then a bunch of little Knicks N Bruises, if you will. and if he could just stay healthy when he peaks, we might be able to see something out of him. But it seems like he just has to continuously work his way back up into the rotation, and then an injury happens. So if he could stay healthy, I think we'll be all right. I think we could find a good, useful role for Frank. Has your opinion changed on Mitch? You mentioned you was one of the guys that said trade him and get what you can, and do you still feel that way or?
Well, the thing with Mitch, there's certain things he needs to learn. I guess that's why they brought Taj back. Because we could have just kept Amari Spellman because we have a need for him as well. But I think it was better to bring Taj back because I guess Taj was getting to him. As far as like learning the little nuances and stuff. So I mean, like he's been evolving as a player, like learning to do big man stuff, like just basic stuff like boxing out. He hasn't boxed out his whole career, and he boxed out this year. He's been boxing out this year. You can credit to him gaining some weight and stuff like that. But it's just more about court awareness and about what is your role. Your role is not to shoot threes. Your role is not to be going between your legs a million times with your cousins. You know what I'm saying? That's not your role as a basketball player. Maybe in practice, if you could show the team that you're ready to do that, then you could do that. I want to bring up somebody like JaVale McGee. Like if you watch JaVale McGee in the offseason, that you would think that he was Wilt Chamberlain. The way all the moves that he got so many moves. But when you see him in the game, he doesn't do none of that. But the thing with McGee is that through all this training that he's been doing, he's understanding where to be, and what his role is as a center in the NBA. So somewhere, along the line here, Mitch is getting these little lessons and stuff. And he's been a sponge at that. So I give him credit to that. So he's definitely somebody that we can absolutely use. But when it comes down to paying him, there's been a few podcasts that I've heard where guys were cursing and going crazy, about the fact that you don't know the role, you don't know the value that Mitch Robinson has. Yeah, I know the value, but that value doesn't exceed $20 million for what he's giving us today. You know what I'm saying? And then that what do you call time is coming pretty quickly for him to get to that road, man. So he can actually build himself up to that. But when you start talking about Rudy Gobert and some of these guys, what's the other dude that was in Houston that went to Atlanta? Like you paid Capella. You paid him in Houston and got rid of him. Now when he's in Atlanta and he's not really, but you still paid him though. You paid a guy that could do what somebody else could do. So I just don't want to. I just definitely don't want to waste money.
I definitely see your point of view. I was one of the guys on the opposite end of that. That spectrum, because I felt like, we have this year and we have next year. Like I felt like it was a little bit too early to worry about paying them. I'm also a firm believer that money stuff is gonna work itself out. I just felt like it was a little early to have those kind of discussions when we had them for another full 2 seasons this year and next year, where who knows how much he develops over that time. And, we, in my brain, we have until next year's trading deadline to really make a decision on that. So I just thought it was a little premature.
Well, that's the PTSD I was talking about. That's like everything that happened before us. It's like, I don't want them to do it to us again. That it was that. Like I said, I admit I was still on that too, man. But it's definitely between last season and maybe this season, I kind of fell off it a little bit. Maybe yeah.
I've noticed.
Yeah. But it's like I don't want to say that, I don't want to say what's in my head, but it's like we don't want to be hurt again. So but don't hurt me again. That type of thing. I'm thinking about Clarence Witherspoon, man. We can't give. I don't want it to be another Clarence Witherspoon. But then you think about Clarence Witherspoon, motherfucker, that was like 20 years ago. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah. So you gotta. We're just evolving. Everybody's evolving. The Knicks are evolving, and we're evolving too as a fan base.
Agreed, man.
Yeah.
Agreed. This was fun, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I could talk to you forever, man.
we gotta do one of your podcasts as well, man.
Yeah, definitely, man.
I know these late games. You haven't been doing the halftime on the late games.
Oh no, I've been doing it.
You have?
Yeah. My face is like this. You know what I'm saying? And Sim comes in and Sim is like, "Yeah, what's up, Ebro? What's going on?"
I haven't seen the I haven't got the the notification on the patch too. The other one I was at work anyway, so I couldn't make it. But yeah, I'll be back on with you at halftime. Next game for sure.
I no doubt, man. Well, I gotta say too, man. You were the first guy that actually liked Die Hard Knicks on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, there was 5 people, right? But I think you were the actual first person to hit the follow button on Instagram. Yeah, man. So I mean, like you hold a sweet spot in my heart, my man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Us Knicks fans, we look for all the content. You know what I mean? We look for all the conversations. I mean, we can literally look at shout out to Freezy. Look what he's doing.
I don't get how he does that.
A 2-hour break and then another 4 or 5 hours in the morning.
Yeah,
we can talk about the Knicks all day long, man.
Yeah, he's the Lionel Richie of podcasting though right now, man. That guy's all night long.
All night, for sure. Yeah. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to you, Ebro. Your Blackest Time. I appreciate you coming on. I definitely have you back on some more Knicks talk. And salute, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. MBK all day. You know what I'm talking about?
For sure. Oh man, that was fun.